Hey everyone, welcome back to Way to Gets Better. This is episode 67, and today's topic is definitely a break from the more serious topics I do. So it's about cooking, baking, and mental health. I'm going to title it Healing in the Kitchen because it's definitely something that's been very healing for me the past few years that I've been taking it up as a hobby. It was definitely something I started as a way to help me heal and keep me busy while also learning skills for the future. And I have improved significantly, but I am still learning, and everything is a learning process and trial and error. And I have my great cooking days. I have my mid days. I have my mess up. So it's definitely I want to divulge more as we go. So let's dive into the facts. So I asked, why is cooking and baking good for mental health? Is it a good way to support your mental health? And this is what the facts said. Cooking and baking support mental health by acting as a form of mindfulness, reducing stress through sensory engagement, and boosting self esteem through creative accomplishment. Definitely the accomplishment part of it. When something comes out good or well, like looks good or tastes good, it's definitely the feeling of like accomplishment that comes along with that 100%. These activities provide a structured, meditative, and rewarding outlet that allows for emotional expression, control, and sensory enjoyment, helping to lower anxiety and increase happiness. 100%. And it also teaches you good skills. So it definitely is like a multifaceted thing to do. So, key mental health benefits: mindfulness and relaxation. Baking and cooking require focus, weighing, stirring, and watching the oven, which keeps you in present moment and helps quiet anxious thoughts. I get that it's saying it helps quiet your anxious thoughts, but I always get so anxious when I cook, and I'm just being honest. I always get so anxious, like, what if this doesn't come out good? Or if I'm cooking for like a large collective group of people, I'm always like, what if this doesn't come out good? Like, what if it doesn't taste good? So, it does help calm your anxious thoughts, but when you're cooking for other people, it definitely comes out like you feel very anxious. And now that I started creating content doing it, I want it to look good and like also taste good when I eat it, but like I always feel very anxious that things aren't going to pan out as well. And I do have moments like that, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Stress relief and sensory engagement. The sensory experience, smell of spices, the feel of the dough, and the repetitive tasks like chopping or kneading can soothe the nervous system, lower the cortisol levels, and provide a healthy emotional release, boost self esteem and control. Following a recipe provides a sense of structure and control in busy life. Oh, my alarm's going off. I forgot my alarm. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Okay, back to the topic. Okay, well, where were we? Um, Boost self esteem and control. Following a recipe provides a sense of structure and control in busy life, while the finished product offers a tangible sense of accomplishment. 100%. And I just said that. You do feel very accomplished when something comes out really good. Creativity and self expression. Trying a new recipe or decorating treats offers a creative outlet that has been linked to improved mood or emotional well-being. 100%. Also, like, I got to a point with my cooking and baking now where like I'll just wing, like, specifically my cooking, I've gotten to a point where I'll just wing a recipe. Like, we'll talk more about it because I have a fun story about how, like, this 2 weeks ago, I was alone in the house taking care of it, and I literally just had meats, seasonings, marinades, and sides, and I put all these meals together with different ways to cook them, and I did some of the best cooking I've ever done, and it was all like winged recipes. It wasn't even like specific recipes. It was just I winged them all. So okay, so let's dive into more. So we did the creativity and self-expression, nourishment and connection. Baking for others acts as a form of social connection, fostering a sense of community and generosity, which it turns to bringing personal happiness. 100%. And I love that it says like a sense of community and generosity. I love when I bake something like at night or like during the day. I'll always tell my mom, because my mom started when I first started my baking like years ago, and 2 or 3 years ago, my mom would always take my baking to like her coworker that she works with, and she always compliments it, and like she tells me things are good. I hope she means it. I hope it's not just her trying to be nice, but like she does tell me it's good. And my mom was like, "Oh, like the last thing I baked for her, I think I cooked a it was, oh my god." So I make tres leches. I take cake mix, like store cake mix, and I put 3 milks in it, and I like turned it into a tres leches. And then the last one I did with the tres leches was a lemon cake, and I put some raspberry frosting on it, made it with Cool and raspberry preserves, and I literally took some crushed up lemon Oreos and I put some raspberry preserves, like drizzled on top. I was addicted to it, and my mom brought it to her coworker, and her coworker said it was so good. So, oh my God, I loved it. I do a lot of homemades. I think my favorite thing I ever made was my fruit tart. And that's another thing she brought to her coworker, and her coworker said it was so good. But the thing with that, I was actually just talking about it this past weekend with my mom's friend. I was sitting with her at the communion, and we were talking about, because they went on vacation together like 2 weeks ago, which is why I was alone. So she was like, "Oh, they brought me back like a thing of seasoning because they know I love to cook." And I was telling her, and we were talking about like the vanilla extract they brought back from like, I think my parents, the way I made the fruit tart, I used the vanilla extract my mom bought me from when she went somewhere in the Caribbean. I don't remember where it was exactly, but she went somewhere in the Caribbean 2 or 3 years ago. And I used the vanilla extract she brought back for me to make the fruit tart I made. And let me tell you, that custard that I used for the fruit tart was amazing. And I don't think I can replicate it because it's not an American like store bought vanilla extract. It was from like the Caribbean islands, and my God, it was, I think, the best thing I ever made was that fruit tart. I love a good fruit, and I got some fresh fruits. I made the custard homemade. I made the crust homemade. And that's what I was really into. And I had the closed minded mindset when I was doing that. At the time, I was like, everything I make has to be homemade. Everything. And then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Not everything has to be homemade. Like, I make my tres leches, they're not homemade. I make certain things, they're not homemade. And I got to a point, like, I can make things homemade 100%. I've seen what I can do. And I can do it. And I have all those recipes still saved in my phone. But I know I'm so mad. Like, next time if I go to the Caribbean again, I want to get the vanilla extract my mom got because, oh my God, that fruit tart was the best thing I think I ever made. It was so good. So definitely, like, and she brought it to her coworker. Her coworker said it was so amazing. The fresh fruit, you put, like, the way you make it, everything was homemade except for the fruit. The fruit was like fresh fruit I got when I worked at Stu's at the time. I got the fresh fruit from there. I put kiwi, blackberry, I don't remember if I put raspberry. I put blueberry, kiwi, strawberry. Like, I put a whole bunch of stuff on it, and you glaze it with like a jam or something. It was so good, and I was so proud of myself. And that was during the time where I was just like, I was not just starting, like, I was a little bit into it. It was like maybe like a few months into starting. It was like May of that year when I started, and it was like my proudest thing that I've ever made. And I don't, like I said, I can't replicate it, which makes me so annoyed because it's not like American vanilla. It's like from the Caribbean. So, all right, let's continue. I'm sorry. I had to go off on a tangent because, like, just thinking about it, I'm like, oh, yeah, my mom brings it to her coworker, and it like, created a connection for me and her coworker. Okay, so making for others. Okay. Regulates emotions. For those with anxiety or neurodiverse minds, the structured, predictable nature of baking can be grounding and calming 100%. And why baking specifically? Baking is often considered the more therapeutic than general cooking because it is highly sensory and precise. The smell of baking vanilla or cinnamon acts as a secret, a excuse me, sensory escape. An active kneading dough is a powerful stress reliever, offering tangible way to feel grounded. Let me give you some stories about like when I first started getting into baking. So, this is off the notes. Like, this is just me, and I just thought about it as I was going along. So this is one of those things. I have facts, I have story time written down, but I also want to talk about things as I go along because it like hits me. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. So when I first got into baking, like I said, I was trying to do things that like everything was homemade, and I know I can do homemade, but when I started out, I did things homemade, and not everything looked pretty, and it was before I started creating content, and I have a lot of things that like I put them in like my highlights on my Instagram, and like I made cinnamon rolls. They tasted good, but they looked like they didn't look pretty because I was just starting and learning, so they're not gonna look pretty. And as things went along, things started looking better and better because I like to present things when I post them online and look good. Not everything's pretty when you cook or bake it, but like I mean, cinnamon rolls they tasted good, but they didn't look good. And like I have a lot of things from like the beginning, and you see from like the beginning to where I'm at now, things have completely progressed. And like I said, I still have my mishaps, which we will talk about because I like to be authentic and like honest on my podcast, and I posted it on my YouTube. So like I made sugar cookies homemade for my mom's birthday the other day. I had a mishap. We'll talk about that. But like just looking back at things, and I just remember like my one of my best moments when I first started. I made these mini Oreo cupcakes where I put like it was Oreo cupcakes. They were homemade. Everything was homemade. And then the icing was homemade, and I put little mini Oreos on top because they were mini cupcakes. And I remember I was working at Stu's at the time, and I was in the middle of work, so I couldn't use my phone. My phone was always in my back pocket, but I never touched it because you can't use your phone. And I remember when I left for the day, I checked my phone, and my mom literally texted me. She's like, "Oh my God, why did you bake those?" Because I ate the whole batch of them. And I was like, "Oh my God, like I didn't even get to try one." Like I made them, I would make them like in the nighttime, then I would leave them. The next day I would have them. And my mom at one point was like, "You gotta stop." She's like, "You gotta stop baking because, oh my God, your stuff is good and all I do want to do is eat it." So like, yes, like I did definitely, since a few years ago, I definitely did gain weight from all the baking and the eating that I did. And I'm definitely trying to lose weight now. Because I actually, for my niece's communion the other day, I had the dress that I wore for her communion, it was looser on me like a few years ago, which was like a few months before I started my healing journey and started baking. And then as like time went on, I definitely gained the weight. So I'm like, ugh. But like, yes, I'm going to work on losing weight 100%. But like I did, like definitely eating. The thing is, cooking and baking is very useful to get into. But like once you get good, all you want to do is just cook, bake, and just eat your stuff. And sometimes like it's not good to like always bake, but like I was doing it mostly. And like the thing is, I would bake and I would just eat like one slice of what I made. And then everyone else would get like I would give it for other people. Like I think I made in like February, excuse me, I made the best cheesecake I think I've ever made because I made a strawberry cheesecake before. I've never made like a homemade cheesecake, but this cheesecake I made for Valentine's Day it was homemade and it was so good. And I made it based off of like an idea that I got from a dream I had. My grandma was like, and came to me in a dream, and she passed away back in 2015. She came to me in a dream a few days before, and she was like, "Can you bake me?" And she had it was a very specific thing she said in the dream, where she said, "Can you bake me a strawberry cheesecake with chocolate ganache?" And I was like, well, if I have to cook for the living, I was like, I have to bake this for the living. I'm going to do it in a way that's going to like benefit the people that are alive because you're just coming to me in a dream and you've passed away. So I just thought it was very funny because it's very much like her. It was very grandma coded, the dream. If you know her, you would know. So I baked a regular cheesecake, and then when I presented it online after I made the video, because at that point I was creating content, which was like literally this February, I drizzled it with chocolate sauce, and I dipped it in strawberry and chocolate, and I put like a chocolate covered strawberry on top, but I left the rest of it like a regular so everyone else can eat it. Oh my God, it was such a good cheesecake. I was so proud of myself. So definitely like getting into baking is so beneficial in many different ways. But like I said, there are times where I have mishaps and we'll talk about it. So like I said, when I first started my healing journey, baking was the one thing that I was great at. And then I had to come to a point where I was like, okay, I'm really good at this. Let me focus more on getting better at cooking. Because once I've like kind of mastered baking in a way, I want to get better at cooking. So I'm good at both. But like I said, I have my mess ups. I have my times where my things are really, really good. Then I have my times where things aren't bad, but they're not the best. And then I have my times when things are just, they didn't come out great at all. Like I said, it is trial and error. So definitely, it's definitely, like I said, a learning process. So definitely, activities such as cooking can act as a grounding, meditative, and self-care ritual, providing a tangible sense of accomplishment and boosts to self-esteem. 100%. Mindfulness and stress reduction, the repetitive actions of measuring, kneading, chopping, and stirring act as a form of meditation, helping break the negative thought patterns and reduce anxiety. Sensory grounding, engaging with food through smell, touch, handling dough, sight or taste helps bring the mind into the present moment, offering a culinary therapy that lowers stress, sense of control and structure. The recipe-driven nature of baking offers a defined beginning and end, providing a sense of order and accomplishment, which helps alleviate feelings of being overwhelmed. Creative expression and self care. Baking acts as a creative outlet and a form of self care, allowing for artistic expression and a quiet space to focus on nurturing oneself. And baking for others creates a social bond and increases feelings of joy. This didn't really give much of like cooking, but this is physical and mental engagement. Cooking is considered a productive activity that uses executive function planning, which is useful in rehabilitation and cognitive development, making it a valuable tool for mental well being, whether it is a slow cooked meal or a simple batch of cookies. It helps create calm and focused mental state. 100%. And like during the winter and the fall, when my leg like was like a little messed up from like my sciatica, I loved cooking, and over the summer I was doing a lot of cooking. I do a lot of cooking. I love it. It's like something very therapeutic, and I also love doing it. So I when my leg was out of like was horrible and like just not, it was very painful. I wanted to cook because my dad was going to dialysis and my mom would go with him at a certain point, and I wanted to do something nice for them, and I would cook for them meals for when they got home. My mom wouldn't have to worry about cooking, so I would like specifically during the winter and the fall, this was perfect. I would make like a chili or I would make a soup because we live in New York, and during those times of year it's very cold. So soup and chili season is definitely in the fall and the winter. So I would make like a chicken noodle soup and I put it in the crock pot. I would make chili during like the Super Bowl. I made a chili. It came out so good. And I also, during that time, my brother in law had to go somewhere because something happened to one of his friends. Um, and my sister was alone with the kids. So I sent over my chili and she said it was really good. So definitely it's beneficial to like do things like that and help other people out. And I would do it mostly with the crock pot. I can cook in the stove. I can cook on the oven. I can I can cook in the now my dad recently, and this was smart of him, taught me how to turn on a barbecue. And you can say that and laugh at me like, oh, she doesn't know how to turn on a barbecue. No, but it is very complicated to turn on. It is a few steps you have to turn on a barbecue. You have to turn certain knobs, press a button, turn the propane. Like, it is a whole thing. And my dad taught me how to turn it on, and I love that cooking method, especially when it's nice out. And when they went away 2 weeks ago, I had the house to myself. I had meats to cook, I had sides, I had seasonings, I had marinades, I had like fruits, I had vegetables. So what I did, and I all my content is on my Instagram and my YouTube channel, which is In the Kitchen with Alyssa on YouTube, at In the Kitchen with Alyssa. All my stuff is there. Um, so I basically took the meats. I would season them because you have to season meats 100%. Those who don't season meat, you got to learn how to do it because it does make a difference with cooking. So I would season the meats, I would marinate them, or I would just cook them regular. And I would marinate them. I would make sides, or I would cut up vegetables to go as the side. And I even made fried ice cream. Oh my god, the fried ice cream. So the first day I made steaks. So I seasoned them, I marinated them, I barbecued them, which is like so beneficial that my dad taught me how to turn on a barbecue because I barbecued the steak. I made a side of mac and cheese and I baked it. Um, and I literally like had what else? I had the baked mac and cheese, and for dessert that night, it was the first night of me being alone, and my nieces, while I was cooking all this, my nieces and my brother-in-law came over to visit with their friends, and so they came over. We were hanging out for a little bit. I cooked and the steak was good, the baked mac and cheese was good, and I, in the process of like, before all that, I made fried ice cream. So what you do with the fried ice cream, it's on my YouTube and my Instagram. You just roll out a ball of ice. When I use Ben and Jerry's, give me s'more ice cream, and I rolled it into a ball. You gotta let it freeze and harden up as a ball in like some parchment paper on like a bowl, and you freeze it, and then you roll it in um frosted flakes, and you put some cinnamon on the frosted flakes, and you saute it with butter. And oh my god, that was such a good fried ice cream. And I was so scared. It was one of those little things where I was like, okay, I hope I don't mess this up. I hope I don't mess this up. It was my first time making it, and it was so delicious. I definitely want to make it again for like my nieces and my parents. It was definitely something that came out really good. And so I did that. That was my first night. So I had steak and bacon mac and cheese. And then for dessert, I had fried ice cream that I made, which isn't technically, it's not fried. It's just it's rolled into like sauteed frosted flakes with cinnamon. That was really good. And then the other nights I had all these, like, I had burgers, and I would make things, like I would make all the meat, and I would have like two things of meat or two things of something, and I would save the rest for later. So I would eat during like the mid-afternoon, and then like save everything for later so I could have it. And it was just great. I made like a stuffed pineapple bowl with teriyaki rice. I barbecued some teriyaki shrimp. I marinated some shrimp in some teriyaki sauce. And I put some pineapple and I put some sriracha on top. That was great. Oh my god, that was so good. That was another day my brother in law and nieces came over with their friends. And then I made grilled salmon with shrimp, and I put some sriracha and mango on top. I tried to make mango salsa because I love a good piece of salmon with like mango salsa. But when I went to go make it, the avocados I got for it, I had limes and I had things to like make the salsa, but like the avocados were bad. They were like crushed. I was like, oh my god. So now I gotta go back to the drawing board. So I just put mangoes on top of sriracha. That was good. Like everything I made just was so delicious. I was so proud of myself. And every time my parents go away, I have time to myself. I have to take care of the dog, take care of the house, clean, and everything. And every time they go away, something always happens to like me physically. Like I always get hurt. Like the one time 2 years ago they went away, I hurt my plantar fasciitis was acting up, and I was limping. I cracked my foot. Like it was bad. And then another like the last year during like July, my sciatica started and my legs completely gave out. This time I was fine. I cleaned the house. I had a great time. It was time away. I had the whole house to myself. And literally I was cooking. It was very healing. It was good for my depression that I've had these past 2 months. Like, I've been good. I was depressed over the winter for many different reasons, and I've spoken about it before, and I was very open about it. But like this specific time alone was different. Like there was no drama. I wasn't injured. Like I had a whole week where I was fine. My nieces came to visit me with my brother-in-law almost every day. I had my stuff from Planet Nug. Like there was one day where like I sang karaoke. It was during Coachella weekend. I sang karaoke of Justin Bieber's Baby on the couch like a million times. I had myself a little Coachella. I was, like I was really living life, enjoying myself, cooking, like taking care of my dog. I did my episodes. Like I was very sober for those compared to like me just taking, I was sober during the day and at night before I went to bed. I would wind down with taking something because I was alone. I wanted to entertain myself. I just had a very healing, happy week that week. I called my parents almost every day. Like we talked, and it was no drama between us. Like something was just very different about this vacation they just went on where I was alone, and it was nice. Like it was nice. I made my content for my cooking, and it was fun. Like the stuff that I was taking from Planet Nug, it like did something to my creativity and my focus. And now this time around, like I know how to use the barbecue. So I was definitely like I was utilizing that. I was having fun. I came up with new types of content ideas where like I would cook instead of like me giving instructions on cooking. 2 videos I gave like what I was doing, but that was like for the fried ice cream. But I wanted also people to know how to make it. Like I post things because I enjoy it. It doesn't have to get all the likes in the world. It doesn't have to get all the views, but I do it just for me and for like if somebody, a select few, want to view my stuff, I post it. So I did for the fried ice cream. I posted like instructions. The video after that, which was the steak, I just took it where I like took music that went along with what I was doing in the process. That was fun. I thought that was like a fun idea. And then the rest of my content, I decided like I was making burgers on the grill. I did it where like I was like, oh, this is what I was listening to as I was cooking. And it was like Pon de Replay was the first one. It was like the vibe that I had as I was cooking the burgers. So like it was like a fun little. So I had that Pon de Replay by Rihanna. I love that song. It's like her first song that like launched her into who she is now, the queen that she is now. And then there was other songs I did like when I was barbecuing and cooking. It was just my content that week was just great. But then I like towards the end I was just like, ugh, I love cooking, but like I just want one day where like I want to eat Taco Bell. Like I wanted Taco Bell. So definitely so my favorite thing has been putting on my headphones and cooking and baking away. Like I said, it's such a vibe. I started creating content along with my cooking and baking about like a year now. So a lot of my focus would be on like me giving instructions, looking into the camera, trying to get the right like, shot in the camera. And like when I had time alone, like I said, I put my headphones on and I just vibed out to the music. And like I would season and marinate and barbecue or cook, and like I said, I had headphones on, and I definitely was like, okay, this is what I was listening. This is what my ears were listening to as I cooked these things, and I had like a whole streak going. It was great. Like I said, it was a very, very healing weekend. So listening to music. Let's talk about listening to music while cooking and the positive effects that it has. So what are the positive effects that listening to music while cooking and baking? It improves the experience by boosting mood through dopamine release, lowering stress, and enhancing focus, making repetitive tasks feel like less like a chore. It helps establish a natural rhythm for chopping and stirring, improves efficiency, and can even heighten sensory enjoyment of the food. So I remember like I have a video on my YouTube where me and my niece were baking cupcakes, and we were listening to like music. We turned on Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, and like we were just vibing out. And like I just have a good time with music. You listen to upbeat music, it's so fun. And it enhances your rhythm and efficiency. A steady tempo helps you pace, stir, and chop more efficiently. Much like a steady beat assists the physical tasks, mood boosting and relaxation, music decreases anxiety and makes the kitchen a more enjoyable environment, turning cooking into a creative, rewarding process. It enhances the sensory perception. Certain frequencies can alter taste perception. High-pitched music can amplify sweet flavors, while lower-pitched sounds can enhance savory and bitter notes, as demonstrated in studies on the connection between sound and food. And increased creativity and focus. Music helps you get into a flow, making you more willing to experiment with new techniques or recipes. 100%. And that was me like 2 weeks ago. Put my headphones in. I winged all the recipes that I made. I just grilled things. I marinated things. I seasoned things, all while listening to music. And I was just like vibing out. It was such a healing week. And the best practice is using upbeat music for fast, high energy cooking, slower mellow tracks for careful, long simmering, and baking projects help set the right pace. Now, getting back to creating content with my cooking, it has become something I enjoy. Like I said, I don't do it for like, oh, I want this to go viral with that in mind. I do it because I enjoy it. A select few people can see it. I started a YouTube channel recently called In the Kitchen with Alyssa. And like I said, I'm enjoying building that up. I don't just post my cooking and my baking. I post a lot of the food that I eat. Like I said, it's In the Kitchen with Alyssa. So let's talk about why cooking and baking content creating is good for mental health. It has definitely helped my mental health because people react to it when they do. or people like it or people view it, and it's definitely something that's been beneficial. So let's talk about it. Creating cooking and baking content boosts mental health by fostering mindfulness, lowering stress, and providing a creative outlet. The sensory experience of cooking and baking acts as a form of culinary therapy that lowers cortisol, offers sensory grounding through sight and smell, and provides a sense of accomplishment. It also fosters social connection and helps manage anxiety. Here's why creating cooking and baking content is good for your mental health: mindfulness and stress reduction. The focused nature of chopping, measuring, and stirring services serves as a form of meditation that keeps you in the present moment and reducing anxiety and stress. Creative outlet and expression. Creating content allows you to express yourself through plating, flavor, experimentation, and decorating, which is linked to improved well-being, sense of control and accomplishment. Following a recipe and seeing finished products provides a defined start and end that helps combat feelings of overwhelm and depression. Sensory engagement, engaging with textures, dough, and smells, spices, aids in grounding, keeping you present and calm. Social connection and sharing content or the food or itself fosters connection with others, which is vital for emotional well-being. And self-care and reward. Creating a nutritious and enjoyable meal provides a tangible reward, improving mood and boosting self-confidence. These activities are increasingly used to help treat anxiety, depression, and other psychological stressors. Now, something I definitely wanted to touch on was cooking and baking mishaps. They happen. I literally created a video the other day. I was going with the flow. I was enjoying my flow with the video, my baking, and then the mishap happened when I started to bake it. And I decided to just create the video of me giving a little disclosure of like how things went wrong, because I wanted to be authentic. I wanted people to know. And during the time, it was like that Friday. It was before I actually was asked last minute to go help with my niece's communion setup, because her communion was that Saturday. So I had every plan of recording that Friday, but I was asked last minute, and that was a little bit more important to me to help my family set up for that. And then I came home, I was like tired, and then Saturday I had the communion, and I wanted to give myself Sunday off. So that's why I'm doing it today. And I had a little bit of a mishap with trying to log in. I had to clear out my browser history because the people on Spotify helped me figure out what was going on because I couldn't log in. So I eventually logged in, and now we're doing it today. It's overnight, and I'm fine with it. But like I said, I had a mishap on Friday. It was my mom's birthday. Happy birthday to her. I love her. It's my bestie. Her birthday. So I was trying to do something nice for her. I was trying to bake homemade sugar cookies. And for a while, I was very, very excited about this recipe. And it was a learning process for me because you have to read your recipes. And I'm putting this off as it was the recipe's fault and not mine, because I know what I'm doing in the kitchen. It's just a matter of like, you have to actually read your recipes. And most of the time it is my issue. Like, it's my fault for why things go wrong. But this time, like, if I literally go into my notes right now, like my pictures in my phone, and show you the recipe, the ratio of, and I figured this out, the ratio of the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients when you make cookies, it was 4 cups of flour compared to, and there was 2 eggs, or 1 tablespoon of this, 1 tablespoon of that. And I was looking at the dry ingredients compared to the wet, and I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense. I should have read it before I actually touched it. And we're going to touch on that. So like I said, cooking and baking is trial and error. Don't be so hard on yourself when something goes wrong. Because like I know my abilities and my skills in the kitchen. So I'm not hard on myself anymore. I was in the beginning. I was so hard on myself. And that was another thing I had to heal from, was like my issues with being an overachiever and being a perfectionist. Like, that was something I needed to work on. And over time, I gave myself grace. I learned that like, not everything has to be perfect. So let's talk about grounding yourself after a cooking or baking mishap. So to ground yourself after a cooking or baking mishap, take a deep breath, step away from the kitchen to reset and reframe the mistake as a learning opportunity. And that's what I did, 100%. Most mistakes are fixable, like adding dairy for spice or blending lumpy sauces. Can be repurposed, such as turning ruined bread into bread pudding. That's actually a smart idea. Step away. If you feel overwhelmed, stop, walk out of the kitchen, and take several deep breaths to break the panic, reframe the failure. Remember that even professional chefs make mistakes, and I'm not professional, but I can imagine somebody who's actually doing it for a living, they do make mistakes. A ruined dish is just a lesson for next time, not a reflection of your worth. 100%. The YOLO attitude, keep it calm, you only live once attitude. It is just food, not the end of the world. I didn't say that, the research did. How to handle the mistake, repurpose. A dish is beyond saving. See if you can be transformed. Burnt cookies into ice cream mix-ins. Triage the food. Identify the exact issue. Is it salty, spicy, overcooked? Use quick fixes like adding acid or to balance the salt, or dairy to reduce the heat. Research. Look up the recipe failed. Why the recipe failed. Why did my bread not rise? To turn it into a learning experience. Preventative grounding for next time. Miss in place. Prep all the ingredients before starting to reduce stress to prevent from frantic, messy moments. Read thoroughly. Read the entire recipe twice before touching any ingredients to understand the flow and the required equipment. And keep a journal. Note that what went wrong, including the environmental factors like weather, to adjust for future success. Now, the research says mishaps are common, and let's divulge more because I want people to understand that they're common. And a lot of people try to portray their cooking and baking on social media or anywhere as like, oh, I'm perfect, I'm the best cook, I'm this, I'm that. But like, mistakes happen. And like it even said, people who went to school are like Michelin star chefs make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Nobody is like, I'm sure Martha Stewart has made mistakes but never really posted about it. So yes, cooking and baking mishaps are extremely common for both beginners and experienced cooks. Even professionals experience ruined batches, burnt food, or forgotten steps, often due to multitasking or inattention. Common mistakes include mismeasuring ingredients, opening the oven door too early, or forgetting set timers. Ways to remind yourself and avoid mishaps. To avoid, oh my god, I lost track. To keep track and avoid ruining foods, adopt these habits. Set multiple timers. Use your phone, the oven timer, and the microwave timer simultaneously to create a backup. Everything in its place. Measure out all ingredients and chop everything out before you turn the stove or prevent rushing. Use visual cues instead of relying only on the timer. Check the visual indicators of doneness, golden brown or toothpick. Follow the recipe twice. Read the recipe through once to understand the flow and a second time while cooking to ensure no steps are missed. Avoid oven peeking. Open the oven door to check this makes no sense. To check the baked goods to make sure they don't sink. Only check near the very end at the baking time. The way that was worded makes no sense. So I'm like, what am I reading? It's all like mixed up. Use an oven thermometer. Oven dials are often inaccurate, leading to burnt or underbaked food. Top tips for common mistakes. Forgetting food in the oven. Place your phone or loud timer in another room if you tend to leave the kitchen. Over mixing batter. Mix only until the ingredients are combined to avoid tough cakes. Using cold ingredients. Bring the eggs and butter in room temperature to avoid lumpy batter. Overcrowding in the pan. Give food space to brown properly rather than steaming it. For the best results, use a kitchen scale to weigh ingredients rather than relying on volume measurements, especially in baking. Now, cooking and baking are definitely confidence boosters, 100%. And as time went on, I learned more skills. I had more good meals and mess-ups, and I got confident. My mom brings my baked goods to her coworker, like I talked about. She raves about my stuff. One time I brought my homemade apple cider donuts. I always say, like, if I go to a store, I always compare the ones at the store to my homemade ones, and I'm like, they don't measure up. And and my mom always laughs at me. She's like, oh, they're just not as good. She always like mimics me. She's like, they're just not as good. Like, she's so funny. So I brought my homemade apple cider baked donuts to my old job, and I handed them out. Everyone raved about them. But I do remember a time years ago when I wasn't even into cooking at that point. I was just partying with people. And a girl in this, like, the scenario, she purposely flooded what I was cooking. We were making breakfast. It was like we had a party at my friend's house. it was that guy's house. We had a party, and something happened between me and the girl the night before, and the next day I was making the eggs for the breakfast, and she purposely took a bunch of salt and flooded it into my eggs. Like, oh, you need seasoning. She purposely over salted them so I would look bad, because that's the type of person she was. And that's the type of relationship the dynamic we had. We were just frenemies. We just didn't like each other. And she would salt, and I was labeled a bad cook because of that, which is such a stupid mindset. Like, one little thing that I didn't even put I didn't even put the salt in it. She did. She over salted it, and I was labeled a bad cook. Meanwhile, like, the Friendsgiving a year or two later, I was the only one who actually cooked what I brought. I made meatballs. So my mom makes these for parties. She makes these cocktail meatballs, like mini meatballs. She puts them in, she makes it with ketchup and ginger ale, and they are so delicious. So I made it for the Friendsgiving, and everyone loved them, and I was the only one who cooked because everyone else brought their own, like, brought catered stuff. So it's so funny to me how, like, that happens, and, like, I was always labeled, like, it just made no sense. Those people were such hypocrites. Anyway, so like I said, I now hope these people look at my Instagram now and they're eating their words, because I'm a good cook now. So I don't even care. So yes, cooking and baking are significant confidence boosters, providing a tangible sense of accomplishment, promoting self-care, and fostering creativity. Mastering recipes and improving kitchen skills strengthens self-esteem, reduces anxiety, and builds a sense of independence that can carry over into other areas of life. 100%. Definitely, I agree with that. A sense of accomplishment, completing a recipe from scratch, from planning to the final bite, offers a tangible reward that validates your efforts. Skill mastery and growth, learning to manage time, follow steps, and handle equipment, develops practical life skills, increasing self-reliance. 100%. Creativity and stress relief, experimenting with flavors and techniques provides a creative outlet that reduces anxiety and improves mood. And then we have control and autonomy. Preparing your own food gives you control over ingredients, fostering a sense of empowerment. Sharing and connection. Sharing food with others can improve relationships and provide social fulfillment, furthering boosting confidence. And how to build confidence in the kitchen. Start simple. Choose recipes that are straightforward and avoid frustration to build a foundation of success. Embrace mistakes. Accept that failures are part of the learning process and build resilience, which is essential for long-term confidence. And focus on the process. Celebrate the effort and enjoyment of the activity, not just the final outcome. Now, cooking and baking boosts serotonin and overall mood through combination of sensory stimulation, mind focus, and reward creativity. These activities act as baking therapy, reduce stress and hormones like cortisol, while promoting dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin through structured, creative, and nurturing acts that provide a sense of control and accomplishment. Mindfulness and stress reduction. The repetitive actions needing stirring and measuring are meditative, focusing on the mind and presenting present moment and easing anxiety. Sensory stimulation. Baking engages all five senses: touching dough, smelling ingredients, seeing the results, tasting and hearing the mixer, which is believed to trigger release of endorphins. A sense of accomplishment. Following a recipe provides a clear structure and a short-term goal. Achieving the goal strengthens self-esteem and provides a sense of control. Creativity and self-care. Cooking is a creative outlet that allows for personal expression while nourishing oneself with homemade meal is an act of self-care. Connection and social sharing. Baking for others is an act of kindness and fosters social connection and boosts happiness, nostalgia, and comfort. The smells and tastes of cooking trigger happy, comforting memories. Now I talk about something that will help people. Let's talk about, okay. I was just reading this, so weird. Now I want to talk about something that when people who run their households feel seen, because I know follow so many people who run a household. They're a mom or a dad, and they run a household, and it takes a lot of planning for the meals and taking care of the house. So I know they have a lot of times where, like, they just want to not cook for the day, not have to figure things out. And I know it definitely causes burnout because, like, you're a working mom or a working dad, or a single mom, single dad, a married, like, whatever your situation is, and you have to run a household with kids, without kids, whatever you're doing. I know, like, if you're a caregiver, you're a parent, whatever you're doing, wherever you fall on that spectrum, Like the burnout is definitely very common, and sometimes you just want to go out for food, order in, or just have somebody else create the meal, and it is normal. So let's talk about it. Taking a night off from cooking and baking is essential for mental health because running a household is taxing, and constant high pressure tasks can lead to burnout, stress, and reduced cognitive function. Pausing helps prevent this by allowing your brain to rest, recharge, reducing cortisol levels, and breaking the cycle of overwhelming daily pressures. It prevents burnout. Constant meal planning, preparation, and cleaning can be draining, and ignoring the need for rest can lead to increased feelings of being overwhelmed. Prioritizes your well being. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Taking a break is a necessary form of self care. Reduces decision fatigue. Running a household requires constant decision making. Skipping this duty offers a break from the cognitive load of planning menus. It restores joy. Cooking and baking should ideally be creative outlet or a relaxing activity, not a source of stress. A break helps restore the enjoyment of cooking rather than viewing it as a chore. Allow for reset. Taking time away from the kitchen gives your mind a much needed break, enabling you to feel more focused and capable when you return to your responsibilities. Taking a night off allows you to reduce stress, lower your heart rate, and focus on other activities that bring joy and improving your overall quality of life. 100%. Now let's talk about how cooking has become a love language for me. Like when I baked the cheesecake, if you know, you know. There's so many different ways I create it as a love language. Not just for like people I love, but like just for like my family, my friends, like anybody. It's a love language for me. And once I got better at it, like I'm very confident. So like if something comes out good, like I'll send food to my mom's coworker, and that's just because like I enjoy, like I'm like, oh mom, go make her happy, give her a baked good. So yes, cooking and baking are widely considered a powerful love language, often acting as a combination of acts of service and gifts. It is a tangible way to express care, affection, and nurturing without words, often described as love made visible. Acts of service, preparing a meal, or baking a treat requires time and effort and thoughtfulness, showing the recipient they are valued. Nurturing and care is a way to provide comfort, warmth, and nourishment, sometimes even acting as a remedy or emotional support. Personalization, making someone's favorite dish or a homemade treat creates personalized, intimate experience. Quality time, cooking or baking together can foster deeper bonds, teamwork, and shared memories. Cultural and emotional connection, sharing a food can bridge gaps, offer comfort during hard times, and convey affection across generations. It is often described as the sixth love language because it feeds both the body and the soul. Now, speaking of culture and cooking and baking, it can definitely help somebody with their cultural identity. Now let's talk about it. Cooking and baking strengthen cultural identity by preserving ancestral traditions, passing down generational knowledge, and fostering a sense of belonging. Through the sensory experience of recreating family recipes using specific techniques and ingredients, individuals connect their roots, honor their history, and communicate cultural values across generations. Passing down traditions, sharing recipes such as traditional bread making, holiday meals, or links the younger generation to the ancestors and preserves cultural heritage. I remember after my cousin Nancy passed away this past September, my cousin, my aunt, well, we call her Aunt Tina. She's my cousin, but we call her Aunt Tina because she was like an aunt to us growing up. She always will be. She was sending me, after her memorial, she was sending me a bunch of recipes that she had of my great grandmother's, like for pineapple upside down cake, for all these different Italian desserts and things like that she was sending me, which I love that. It creates connecting to heritage. The smells and tastes and techniques of cooking act as a tangible link to family's history, culture, and geographic origin, fostering belonging. Preparing and sharing traditional foods creates a sense of community, pride, and continuity, particularly for migrant families maintaining ties to their homeland. Intergenerational bonding. Baking with family members creates memories and reinforces cultural identity in children, helping them understand their heritage as discussed in homebaking.org. and celebrating identity. Holiday and social occasion foods are crucial for reinforcing cultural pride and community bonds, as shown in this article by cookplatefork.com. And cooking is a way of life that represents a community's history and values, acting as a form of intangible cultural heritage. And like I said, a lot of my recipes that I got after my cousin passed away, well, it wasn't because they weren't her recipes, but I just remember we were having conversations because we had a lot of foods, like homemade foods. So we went to Schenectady to visit my cousins in Schenectady, and that's my Italian side of the family, and they make a lot of homemade like pizzelles. They make a lot of like homemade Italian desserts, like so good. And I always ask for recipes and things for them because they're like they come from like my off the boat Italian family, and like it is like such good food. They always send me recipes. I love it. And when I share things on Facebook, they always comment. Like I love like that part of like the connecting to my family. So it is definitely something that is very good to connect to your culture 100%. Um I love connecting. Well, I grew up with mostly my Italian culture because my mom's side of the family was very small. She just had my aunt and uncle, which we had a relationship with my uncle. We didn't have a relationship with her sister. My nana definitely cooked a lot of my Irish side of the families, but like once a year, she'd make like corned beef and cabbage. I have a German side of the family. Me and my mom will go like once in a blue with my dad to like a German restaurant, and my mom will like always like bring up like her childhood, how she was raised on like Wiener Schnitzel or chicken schnitzel and all these things that she grew up with in her German. So her dad is German. He passed away when she was 13. So I never really fully connected to my Irish or my German side. Mostly grew up with my Italian side. I have a big Italian side of the family. So I mostly grew up with that. And I do want to definitely, I always said like if I had the funds, I would definitely open up my mom. My mom would have to run it, an Irish pub. And because like she comes from the Irish side of the family. And I would want her to like kind of like honor my nana by doing that, because my nana was such a big, I have my clattering from my nana. Like she loved the Irish culture. So definitely a plan for one day, open up a pub. So let's talk about a lot of the food creators that I follow either on Facebook, on Instagram. So I follow at Eat with Zoe. It's EATWIT Eat with Zoe. I have his cookbook, Something Out of Nothing. I have yet to make something from it, but he makes great things. I follow this great woman. I just started following her recently during Black History Month. She was creating a lot of the lost recipes. Um, from she was creating a lot of lost recipes from African American, like from a lot of that, like during the time they were like creating things like certain recipes like baking and things from like back in the day. um how a lot of the different desserts come from certain times, and she was creating a lot of recipes from then. And it's Wicked Confections. It's WICKD Confections, CONFECTIONS. She's great. She's like, she creates really good things. And then we have the Golden Balance. He creates a lot of recipes for like weight loss. We have applesauce and ADHD. And we have Sarah Kraft with it's Sarah with an H, and Kraft with a K with two F's. Creates a lot of great things. Let me go look at. Hold on, give me 1 second, because I don't think I explained Wicked Confections. Hold on, Wicked Confections. Let me explain her. Let's see. She created a lot of recipes for Black History Month. Let me give a better explanation. There were a lot of like lost recipes that she was trying to like. Let's see. Let me go back, because the way I was explaining it, there were Black American recipes. Yes, like Southern recipes. She created a lot. She like posted a lot of like, um, She made something, for instance, she made sweet potato butter and hot cakes. She made like banana croquettes. She made a lot of good things. There were Black American recipes during Black History Month. And I thought she created a lot of good things. Her content is really great. I love following her. She's great. It's Wicked Confections. It's Wicked without the E. So it's WICKD Confections. Definitely give her a follow. She's great. Now, those are definitely some of the names that I follow for cooking content. And I absolutely love watching shows, cooking shows as well. So I don't just watch things on the internet. Cooking shows, I watched Wild Card Kitchen on the Food Network. It's about professional chefs competing with their skills to win money during a cooking-themed poker game. So it's definitely fun to watch. And during COVID, I started watching the Great British Bake Off. That's definitely a good show. And I know it's a very popular show. And that's part of the reason why I got into baking, because I think it was like the summer of 2023 when that whole incident happened, and I was like, I was in my recovery, and I just remember watching, like, sitting on my TV. It was during the summer. I was like sitting on my, like, watching TV, and I was watching the Great British Bake Off, and I'm like, what if I just started to get into baking? So that definitely inspired me to get into it, and I'm happy because of it. Now let's talk about how the watching the shows improves your mental health. So cooking and baking shows improve mental health by promoting mindfulness, reducing stress, and boosting self-esteem through structured, sensory-rich, and creative tasks. These activities act as therapy by fostering a meditative state through repetitive actions like chopping. And I've literally said this again. So mindfulness and stress reduction, focusing on precise step-by-step nature of recipes helps quiet negative thoughts, reduce anxiety, and foster a present in the moment. But like, this isn't talking about cooking and baking shows. Creating something. So this is like, okay, tactile experience, feeling for. No, this is so. Watching these shows can offer similar passive benefits by providing a sense of comfort, familiarity, and a relaxing aesthetic to escape from daily pressures. Okay, because the rest of it is just talking about like how it helps you while you're doing it, but it's not talking about when you're watching it. So, anyways, okay, this is a lot of. I'm like, there's some helpful tips to keep you going. Here are some okay, I'm like reading this as I go. I'm like, what are these facts that I chose? Here are some helpful tips to help you along as you learn to cook and bake. Cooking and baking improve mental health by acting as a grounding, creative, and sensory therapies. Key tips include practicing mindfulness by focusing on tactile sensations. And let's dive into it. Mindful baking and cooking techniques. Engage in the senses. Pay close attention to the smells, sounds, and the sizzle or mixer textures and colors, ingredients to ground yourself in the present moment. Need for calm. Tactile sensation of shaping, kneading, or molding dough is particularly effective at releasing stress and fostering a sense of control. Focus on the process, not perfection. Let go of the need for the final product to be flawless. Emphasize the enjoyment of the activity rather than the outcome. Eliminate distractions. Mute your phone and turn off the TV to make the kitchen a sanctuary, reducing anxiety. Mental health benefits. Boost self-esteem. Successfully follow a recipe and mastering a new dish provides a tangible sense of accomplishment. Creative outlet. Experimenting with new ingredients or decorating baked goods allows for therapeutic self-expression. Emotional connection. Baking for others can foster a social connection and provide comfort to both you and the recipients. And actionable tips. Start simple. Choose recipes that feel manageable to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Set the scene. Put on a favorite music or light a candle to create a soothing environment. Embrace playfulness. Reconnect with the joy of creating as you were a child playing in the kitchen. And use baking to relax. Use the time when something is in the oven to enjoy aroma, relaxing, or treating the wait time as a break. And for many, cooking provides a flow state, like allowing for an escape from daily worries, improving mood, and building confidence with personal skills. Now, it is definitely can significantly improve your mental health. And I definitely talked about a lot of this is very repetitive. Now, engaging in rhythmic I can't talk. Engaging in rhythmic tasks like chopping, kneading, and I definitely said that like a million times. Baking therapy, the Depressed Cake Shop. Oh, these are resources. I'm like, what am I reading? These are the resources. Now, here's some key resources for baking and cooking. Baking therapy. The Depressed Cake Shop movement uses baking to raise awareness and encourage conversations about mental health. Culinary therapy resources. The Kaiser Permanente baking therapy. It offers tips to using baking to manage stress and health. Healthy recipe alternatives. Giving Kitchen provides free mental health counseling for food service workers and who often experience high stress environments. Cooking Matters features programs for families, parents, and kids to learn cooking skills in a supportive, budgeting focused environment. Structured Culinary Education. MGH Academy's cooking show for mental health professionals, designed for professionals to understand the connection between food and mental health. Cottages on Mountain Creek offers cooking classes with rehabilitation context for emotional well-being and benefits, focuses on approach. Mindfulness focuses on sensory experiences, smell, texture, and taste to stay present. And anxiety, creativity, experiment with new ingredients like using legumes in new ways to boost confidence and stimulate the brain, and control, using meal preparation as a way to create structure and routine, which can reduce anxiety. Now, here's a short list of celebrities who use cooking as therapy. I remember, and this is not on the list, I remember Selena Gomez mentioned that Benny Blanco, her husband, uses cooking as, he thinks it's very therapeutic. You see him doing that a lot. He does a lot of it for Selena, which I'm sure that's his love language for her. I remember he said that he, got pickles, her favorite pickles all the way from, Texas, where she was from, and, like I said, it's a love language, it's therapy. Cooking is so multifaceted. There's so many different benefits to it. I totally recommend getting into it. If you're new to it, definitely get into it more. It helps you learn skills for the future. It's so beneficial. I'm telling you, I'm so much happier and more healed because that was a part of my structured way of healing. So let's talk about it. So several celebrities use cooking as a therapeutic tool to heal from illness, addiction, depression, or to manage mental health struggles. For example, Demi Lovato, the singer and author of One Plate at a Time, Recipes for Finding Freedom with Food, shared that cooking was crucial for her recovery from eating disorders, helping her reconnect positively with food. I love that. I love Demi Lovato. It's good to see that she's doing good, and I'm glad she used recipe, which is something I use for my healing. Not necessarily an addiction, for PTSD recovery, and as I went on, I became more and more passionate about it. So I love that for her. Seamus Mullen, an award-winning chef, after battling severe rheumatoid arthritis, published Hero Food showcasing cooking with and consuming nutrient-dense ingredients can improve health. Michael Simon, the renowned chef, Michael Simon or Simone, has spoken openly about his struggles with depression and anxiety, finding peace and comfort in the kitchen, describing cooking as a way to focus his mind. Carla Hall, top chef star who advocates for cooking with love and living with joy as a way to transform the kitchen into a happy place to promote mental well-being. And Andrea, this is her last name, is unspecified. According to Diet Detective, she reversed the incurable thyroid disease by turning to food as a medicine and now runs a program focusing on healing through diet. Now, key themes with culinary healing: mental well-being. For many, the repetitive sensory nature of chopping and stirring reduces anxiety and offers a sense of control and accomplishment. Physical health. Chefs and celebrities like those utilizing the food as medicine approach focus on foods to manage autoimmune conditions and boost immunity and addiction recovery. Engaging in the structured creative process of cooking helps some individuals focus on health and sobriety. And I love that. And I love hearing that Demi Lovato does it. I love hearing that a lot of professional chefs got into it. I'm also starting to hear that a lot of celebrities like Tiana Taylor and other celebrities are going to culinary school. It is so beneficial. I'm telling you guys. Definitely. If you don't do it, you should. And I'm telling you, it's beneficial. So here's my favorite part, the affirmations. You know what It Gets Better is all about. For grounding and stress relief, I am breathing in the aroma of safety and breathing out the weight of the past. For self-love, I am nourishing the body that has been holding in so much for me. For patience, I'm allowed to move slowly and still do enough. For perfectionism, This is a place for imperfect action, for focus. My kitchen is a space of joy and creativity. Affirmations for baking as therapy, for control. I can't bake this yet. Embracing learning. For creativity, I trust my intuition in the kitchen. For mindfulness, I am present with what I'm creating. For joy, I'm creating nourishment that my body understands and trusts. And for tips for affirmations in the kitchen, ingredient focus, hold ingredients and visualize them filled with positive energy. Repetitive tasks, use chopping or kneading as a time to meditate and repeat your phrase. And intention setting, set a goal to make good tasting food without stressing over it being perfectly pretty. These practices help transform the kitchen from a place of work into a sanctuary for peace and self-confidence. 100%. Now, thank you guys for listening. I hope I did everything. I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I talked about the things that I was passionate about. I went off notes a lot. I just yapped and yapped. You guys know how I love to yap. Yeah, so definitely get into cooking. Now, thank you guys for listening. The next episode I will do by this weekend. I did 2 episodes in 1 week because I took some time off last weekend and yesterday to just kind of regroup and like relax a little bit. I had a busy weekend as well with my family. I had family obligations, and yeah, so I will be back Saturday. So if you or someone you know is struggling anywhere in the world, here are the free crisis hotlines and organizations that provide immediate emotional support. The International Association for Suicide Prevention maintains a worldwide directory of crisis centers and helplines. Befrienders Worldwide, a network with hundreds of emotional support centers in dozens of countries offering phone, email, and chat support. And Find a Helpline, an online tool that connects people with crisis lines in many countries and languages. The website is findahelpline.com. These directories are helpful because they allow people to search by country and find local crisis support quickly. And you can text HOME to 741-741, the crisis text line, for a free confidential conversation with a trained counselor at any time of day. Text or call 988 or use the chat function at 988lifelines.org. The 988 continues to offer support to anyone who needs it, but no longer offers specialized LGBTQ plus support. If you're looking for specialized LGBTQ plus support, you can contact the Trevor Project directly. You can call 1-866-488-7386 or text START to 678-678 or connect online at trvr.org/get-help. And you can find more crisis resources at thejedfoundation.org/crisis. The new lifeline for the LGBTQIA+, given by Canada, is 1-877-330-6366. You can call the NAMI helpline at 800-950-6264 or text NAMI to 62640. The Find Help tool at twloha.com/find-help or the peer support groups at twloha.com/peer support. The Mental Health Toolkit, mentalhealthtoolkit.co. And the crisis text line, you can text TWLOHA to 741-741. Now, thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys next time. Remember, this too shall pass. I love you guys. Stay well. And I know I want to add this on. This is not in my notes when I have my closing scene. This is like not a movie. This is a literally podcast episode where I just yap. I want to just say, I know there is a lot going on right now, and I will not get into it politically or say anything specific, but I just want you guys to know this, like I said, this too shall pass. Always remind yourself that. And I know that is just such a this like a 4-word saying, but it is so helpful and grounding. Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. It's like there's a lot going on. A lot of things are happening that are just so traumatizing and triggering in this time. And I don't know what to do. There's so much that I wish I could do that we can't do. All we got to do is speak up and try to help those that are losing their rights. And, like, it is just such sad times. And I'm sorry that I'm seeing so many people in different communities lose their rights left and right, and I just want you guys to know this too shall pass. Just this too, we're gonna have a breakthrough. Something's gonna change. You just need to keep telling yourself that, like, this isn't gonna be forever. I hope things change, and just like I want to just give a collective hug to everyone in the world that is like stressed out right now. Like I love you guys. Please stay well, and don't ever hesitate to reach out for help. I gave all my resources. Like I know this is a very trying time. Just ground yourself. This too shall pass. Please, like I know this is a very hard time. Please, I love you guys. Stay well, okay? Enjoy the rest of your week. I will be back on Saturday. I love you guys. Like I just want to hug you guys. I love you guys. Bye.